My husband always called me paranoid until the DNA test came back. Our son wasn't his. Confused, I confronted him, but instead of being shocked, he smirked. I already knew. My blood ran cold as he added, but you don't know the real secret. Shaking, I opened my laptop and found something that made my world collapse. I, 32 female, have been married to Mark, 34 male, for 6 years. We have a 5-year-old son together, Caleb. Or, I thought we did. Mark and I live near Nashville. I work part-time at a dental office, mostly afternoons. Mark's an IT, remote job, but he travels now and then for work stuff. That's what he told me anyway. We met through a mutual friend, dated 2 years before we got married. At first, it felt good. Stable. He was responsible, quiet but confident. We bought a house, did all the adult things. About 2 years into our marriage, I started noticing little things. Nothing huge at first. Just small stuff. His phone was always face down. Locked tighter than Fort Knox. If I walked into the room while he was texting, the phone would vanish into his pocket like magic. Sometimes, I'd find receipts in his jeans or car, restaurants we hadn't been to, gas stations way out of town, even movie stubs. I'd ask, and he always had an answer. Oh, that was for lunch with a client. Or, stopped to use the bathroom on the way back from the meeting. But I couldn't shake this uneasy feeling. I told myself I was overthinking. Mark said I was always anxious. Too suspicious. Paranoid. And I believed him. He always kept his voice calm when we argued. Made me feel like I was the crazy one for even bringing things up. After a while, I just stopped asking. I told myself I was lucky to have a man who didn't yell. I told myself I was just emotional, that I needed to calm down. I told myself that Caleb was happy, and that was all that mattered. But I started writing things down. Just in case. Little notes in my phone. Dates. Times. What I saw. What he said. I didn't know what I was doing it for back then. I just knew something felt off. It all blew open a few months ago. Caleb's kindergarten teacher gave them this family traits assignment. The kids were supposed to draw family trees, list physical traits, include things like eye color and blood type. I'm A+. Mark told me once he was AB-. Caleb came back as O+. That didn't make sense. I brushed it off. Told myself I probably remembered his blood type wrong. But it kept nagging at me. I started looking into it. I'm not a science expert or anything, but even basic blood type charts said the mix of A+ and AB couldn't make an O+ kid. It just didn't work. I tried to forget it. I even asked Mark again, casually, what his blood type was. He gave me the same answer, AB-. I watched his face. No hesitation. That night, after everyone was asleep, I ordered a home DNA test kit. It felt wrong. Like betrayal. But something in me had cracked. It arrived 2 weeks later. I tested both of them. I waited. And when the results came back, they hit me like a fist in the chest. Mark is not Caleb's biological father. I stared at the screen for a long time. I read the words over and over. Probability of paternity, 0%. I didn't understand. I hadn't been with anyone else. Ever. I've never cheated on Mark. There was no mix-up, no mistake. I was completely faithful. So if the test was real, if Mark wasn't Caleb's father, then something was very wrong. I printed the result. Sat on it for a full day. Then I walked into our kitchen, where he was drinking coffee and scrolling on his phone, and I laid the paper on the counter. I didn't say anything. He looked at it. Scanned it. No shock. No confusion. No anger. Didn't take keys. Didn't take his phone. Just left. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat at the kitchen table staring at that paper, trying to understand what was happening. The next morning, I opened his laptop. He always made me feel like I was invading his space if I even touched his stuff, but now I didn't care. It was still logged into his main email. Nothing strange there. Then I found an alternate email. A second Gmail account. I only found it because I opened his browser history and saw Bluebird Daddy 1981 at Gmail pop up. Tyler looked just like Mark. Same eyes. Same nose. Same smirk. They'd taken trips together, Disney, the mountains, even a beach trip. Mark and Amber. With Tyler. I saw photos of him holding Tyler like a proud dad. I saw a spreadsheet where he was paying for Tyler's private school. I saw a PDF of a bank account. A trust fund. For Tyler. He never set up anything like that for Caleb. No savings account. No special trips. No surprise birthday presents. Everything Caleb had, I bought. Or my parents helped with. Mark said he was saving for the future. That he was being smart. And I believed him. But Tyler got the real father. Because he wasn't just hiding that Caleb wasn't his. He was hiding everything. And something tells me, the real secret he mentioned? That wasn't about Caleb at all. That part hasn't come out yet. So, a lot has happened since my first post. I didn't plan to update, not yet. But something new came up, and I need to get it out before I lose my mind. If you haven't read the original post, here's a short recap. I found out my husband, Mark, isn't the biological father of our 5-year-old son, Caleb. I confronted him. He wasn't surprised. Said he already knew. Then he dropped a line I can't stop replaying in my head, "You don't know the real secret." Then he walked out and disappeared. That was almost 2 weeks ago. And now, something even worse has come up. The whole time I've been trying to figure out what he meant by the real secret. At first, I thought maybe he was talking about the other woman, Amber, and her son, Tyler, who, by the way, is Mark's biological kid, I'm 99% sure. But that didn't add up. Why would he call that the real secret if I already found it? Unless he knew I would find it, and was pointing to something else. That thought kept me up for nights. I started second-guessing everything. Every conversation we ever had. Every time he worked late. Every time I caught him in a small lie that I let slide. I needed answers. So I did something I didn't want to do. I reached out to Amber. I called her. This time, she didn't hang up. I told her everything, about the DNA test, the emails, the trust fund, all of it. At first, she didn't believe me. She thought I was trying to mess with her. But when I described the photos and details from the emails, her voice cracked. "He told me you were his ex-wife. He said he had full custody of Caleb and you were in a psych ward. Some were of Caleb. But not the sweet kind, like baby pictures or birthday parties. More like spying. He took photos of me walking Caleb to daycare. Videos of me at the grocery store. Notes about who I talked to. License plates. There was a spreadsheet named risk_log.xlsx. It had my name in it. Along with Amber's. And another name I didn't recognize, Natalie R. Under Natalie's name were columns, pregnancy? Like contact level, low trust rating, M, whatever the hell that means, financial need, critical plan status, active. It was like I was reading notes from a science experiment. Or surveillance reports. I googled Natalie R, and the city she was listed under in the spreadsheet, Chattanooga. There's a Natalie R there who runs a small dog grooming business. So I called. I told her I was a friend of Mark's and wanted to ask about a business thing. Stupid lie, but she said, "Oh, Mark? I haven't heard from him since January." I played dumb. Asked if they used to work together. Her reply? "We were engaged." I swear to God, I almost dropped the phone. She said they were together for over a year. He'd visit every weekend, said he was divorced and had a son he was fighting to get custody of. Told her his ex was abusive. She showed me pictures. They took a trip to Asheville together. He took her to the same cabin he once promised to me for our anniversary, an idea he never followed through on. Oh, and by the way, Natalie has a baby. Born 6 months ago. She didn't say who the father was, but I saw the baby's face. He has Mark's ears. Same as Tyler. Same as Caleb. And I just sat there thinking, what the hell is this man? Let me put this in perspective. Mark and I were married for 6 years. He had a full-on relationship with Amber for at least that long. He got engaged to Natalie sometime during those 6 years. There may be another kid out there. He knew Caleb wasn't biologically his, but stayed anyway. He spied on me. He logged women in spreadsheets like inventory. He kept notes on trust, pregnancy, money needs. I still don't understand why. Why would someone do this? Is it control? Power? Does he have a mental illness? A compulsion? Is he some kind of scammer? Is he conning these women? I feel like I married a shadow. A person who doesn't exist. 3 nights ago, he texted me from an unknown number. "I hope you haven't done anything stupid with the files." That's all it said. No hi. No I miss you. No let's talk. Just that. I didn't answer. I blocked the number. But now I sleep with my phone in my hand. I double-check every door. I wake up at every noise. My sister said I should go to the police. I might. But first, I need to know what else I'm dealing with. Because something tells me this story isn't finished. Not even close. I didn't think I'd be writing again this soon, but something just happened that shook me so bad I couldn't sleep. For those who haven't read the earlier parts, here's the shortest version I can give you. My husband Mark and I were married 6 years. We have a son, Caleb, who turns out is not biologically his. When I showed him the DNA test, he already knew and then told me, but you don't know the real secret. I found out he's been living a double, maybe triple, life with other women. There's another son, Tyler, with a woman named Amber. And a fiancée, Natalie, in Chattanooga, who just had a baby that looks just like him. He tracked me for years. Had spreadsheets rating all of us. And just when I thought it couldn't get worse, it did. Remember the external hard drive? I went back to it, thinking maybe I missed something. I went through it again, every file. I found a hidden folder. It was tucked inside a folder labeled Tax Docs 2017, and it was just called Legacy. Inside were subfolders. One with my name. One with Amber's. One with Natalie's. And one other, labeled Nia. I didn't recognize the name. But what stopped me cold was what was in my folder. There were audio recordings. Hundreds. Recordings of phone calls. Of me talking to Caleb. Talking to my sister. Singing in the kitchen. Arguing with him. Whispering to myself when I thought I was alone. He'd been recording our entire life. Without me knowing. And worse, there were notes. Next to each recording. Timestamped. Labeled. Emotional spike, voice cracked, possible deception, tone shift, self-doubt, useful, manipulate here? This man was studying me. Like a scientist with a lab rat. 2 days ago, I went to pick up Caleb from daycare. I was early. I stayed in the parking lot, sitting in the car with the windows cracked. A man pulled up next to me. Black SUV. Tinted windows. He didn't get out. I watched him through my mirror. He just sat there. Then he rolled down his window and said, "You're Rachel, right?" I froze. I didn't answer. Then he said, "Mark wanted me to check in. Make sure you're being smart." I locked the doors immediately. Started the car. The man didn't move. Didn't follow me. I drove straight back to my sister's house, shaking the whole way. When I told her, she said we need to go to the police. But what do I even say? My husband sent someone to intimidate me but didn't technically threaten me? I feel like I'm being watched. Here's something I didn't mention before. When Mark and I were trying to get pregnant, he insisted on doing everything naturally. Wouldn't let me go to a fertility doctor. Said he didn't believe in all that. Now I wonder why. Because I found something else in his files. A doctor's report from before Caleb was born. It was his. It said he was sterile. Permanent infertility. From some surgery when he was younger. He knew. He always knew. There was never a chance Caleb was biologically his, and not because I cheated, but because he couldn't have kids. And yet, he still blamed me. Still gaslit me. Still made me feel like I was the liar. I started rethinking everything. If I didn't cheat, and Mark's sterile, how the hell did I get pregnant? Then something clicked. A conversation from years ago. Right after our wedding, I had a really bad flu. Mark insisted I take this new cold medicine he'd picked up. It knocked me out for 2 days. I barely remember any of it. We weren't even trying to get pregnant then. But 3 weeks later, I missed my period. And there was Caleb. At the time, we called it a miracle. But now? I started wondering, what if Mark did something? I don't even want to type this. But what if he found a way to get me pregnant without my knowledge? Is that even possible? I know how crazy it sounds. I know I sound like a conspiracy theorist. But this man faked documents. Faked identities. Tracked my life. Studied my voice. If he's sterile, and I never cheated, how else do you explain Caleb? I'm scared of what I'll find if I go deeper. But I have to know. Today, a letter came to my sister's house. No return address. Postmarked from Kentucky. Inside? A single sheet of paper. Typed. No signature. It said, "You're close, but not close enough." Caleb was never supposed to be part of the plan. You were meant to watch, not raise. Let it go. You'll only get hurt. That's it. That's all it said. I think I screamed when I read it. I don't even remember. My sister grabbed it and tried to calm me down. She said we're going to the police tomorrow. But I don't know what to tell them. How do I explain this mess? How do I explain that I think my husband used me, for something I still don't fully understand? There's still no ending. I still don't know where Mark is. I still don't know if Caleb was given to me, or if he's mine biologically with donor involvement, or if something worse happened. All I know is that everything I thought I knew about my life was fake. And whatever Mark's real secret is? It's not about cheating. It's something else. And I think I just cracked the surface. It's been 3 months since I found out the truth. Since the DNA test. Since the smirk. Since he said, "You don't know the real secret." Now I do. I wasn't going to post again. But I know some of you have followed this, and I owe it to myself to write the end. This is what happened. It started with a phone call from Amber. She told me she'd heard from Natalie. Apparently, Mark had contacted both of them again, at the same time. Told Amber I was stalking him. Told Natalie I had kidnapped Caleb and was hiding out. Sent them messages meant to scare me. But here's the part that matters, Mark invited both of them to meet him to talk things through at a diner outside of Chattanooga. Same date. Same time. Neither of them knew about the other. Amber figured it out when she tried to confirm with Natalie what time she was arriving. Natalie had the same time. Same place. So they invited me. I said yes. I don't know why. Maybe I wanted the truth. Maybe I wanted revenge. Maybe I wanted to see his face when the whole thing collapsed. Either way, I went. It was a small-town diner. Old booths. Coffee that smelled burnt. It felt like the last place on earth this should happen, and yet it was perfect. We met outside the parking lot first, me, Amber, and Natalie. None of us had ever stood face to face before. We were quiet at first. Then Natalie spoke, "How the hell did we all fall for the same man?" We walked in together. And there he was. Mark. Sitting in a booth by the window, sipping coffee, like he wasn't about to walk into a hurricane. He looked up. Saw all three of us. His face barely changed. He smiled. Like we were guests arriving at a dinner party. He stood up, raised his hands like some magician revealing a trick, and said, "Okay. Let's just talk." I don't remember who started shouting first. Maybe it was Amber, calling him a liar. Maybe it was me, slamming a copy of the DNA test onto the table. Or maybe it was Natalie, holding up a photo of her baby and screaming, "You haven't even met your son." People stared. The waitress backed up behind the counter. Mark sat back down like he was watching TV. Completely still. Calm. Then I asked him, quietly, "Why did you stay with me, Mark? If you knew Caleb wasn't yours, why stay?" He didn't blink. He didn't even hesitate. Because it was the safest cover. You needed me. And I needed time. Time for what? Amber snapped. He shrugged. To see who would break first. That's when Natalie lunged across the table and slapped him. He still didn't flinch. Just dabbed the corner of his mouth with a napkin and said, "You're all so predictable. Here's where it gets bad." He finally confessed. He said he's been studying people for years. Women, mostly. He has some kind of twisted theory that if you control the narrative, you control the person. He said we were all case studies. He admitted to using fake names, fake documents, tracking software, recording everything. Even his sterility was part of the manipulation. Infertile men get trust faster, he said. You don't expect betrayal from someone who can't give you a child. He said Caleb was most likely from a fertility donor, because he drugged me during that flu weekend and inseminated me himself using a donor sample. I felt my stomach turn inside out. He said it so coldly. Like it was just a fact. Natalie started crying. Amber was shaking. I couldn't speak. I just sat there, realizing this wasn't a husband. Or a father. Or a cheater. This was something else. I stood up and walked away. Just like that. Didn't throw a drink. Didn't scream. I just left. Behind me, I heard Natalie yelling. Amber sobbing. Mark never followed. I called the police that night. Showed them everything, emails, audio files, spreadsheets, the letter he sent, everything. Turns out he's under investigation now. For identity fraud. For illegal surveillance. For non-consensual medical actions. They're building a case. I filed for full custody of Caleb and a restraining order. So have Amber and Natalie. We've kept in touch. We're not friends. But we're connected now in a way no one else would understand. I don't sleep well. I still check the locks twice. I keep a baseball bat under my bed. But I've also started therapy. And slowly, I'm starting to believe it wasn't my fault. I was a trusting person. A loyal person. A good mother. He took those things and twisted them. But they're still mine. My sister says I'm strong. My mom says she had a bad feeling about him from the start. A friend of mine said, "At least he's out of your life now." I hate when people say that. Because it's not that simple. He's not out. Not really. He's in every fear I feel now. Every time I question someone's intentions. Every time Caleb asks, "Where's Dad?" and I have to lie. But I'm working on it. We moved. New apartment. New locks. New school for Caleb. Sometimes I watch him sleep, and I still wonder, was he part of the plan? Or the one thing Mark couldn't control? I don't know. But I do know this, Mark never broke me. He twisted me. Hurt me. Hollowed me out. But I'm still here. I'm not healed yet. I'm not strong every day. But I survived the worst thing I've ever faced. And now, finally, the truth belongs to me.